What you wanna know? What's going on, people? Myke down here with another episode of What Do You Want to Know, where you ask your questions, and if I like your questions, I will answer your questions on camera. Before I get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to a kinda sorta sponsor, Cozy Cosmic Clothing. He sent me this rad shirt to wear, as well as a few other shirts. They have some pretty cool and interesting designs in their shop, really artistic stuff. So make sure you check them out. As I said, I will try to throw the link in the description box. So click it, buy a shirt, and if you do buy a shirt, make sure you tell them that Myke C-Town sent ya. So let's go ahead and dive right in, man. Here we go. First question. A sexual outlet said, "Hey Myke, just wondering how you feel being an internet celebrity amongst hip-hop heads on the internet. Does it help to vent? Do you feel less lonely? Has the pseudo-fame changed the way you view people?" I had to blur dude's AVI out because it had a bit of nakedness, and I didn't want to get yanked. Get it? Yanked? The internet celebrity title, I'm still not quite sure how to become comfortable with that. A guy my age who has some sort of popularity from being a talking head online, I just think it's kind of weird. It's not something that I ever set out to be. And before doing Dead in Hip Hop, I didn't even know what an internet celebrity was. I went on YouTube for normal shit, like I'd watch music videos, and occasionally an instructional video. But that was kind of it. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea that you could actually get kind of famous from doing this. Does it help to vent? Sure. I've said before that a lot of the people that I used to talk to about music, they no longer care about music. They've gone from being interested in really important and life-altering things like music to being into frivolous bullshit like wives and babies and careers. So it's nice to talk to other losers like me about music, even if it's only through a computer. Do I feel less lonely? Not really. It's not like I've made many real-life friends from the internet. And it's not like I'm bringing any fuckers home with me sitting around a fire with some wine talking about KRS-One and At the Gates. You know what I mean? So I have plenty of friends IRL. The internet thing just adds to my circle of music friends, which is cool. It's cool talking about bands and rappers and, even discovering new music from you guys. Has the pseudo-fame changed the way I view people? Abso-fucking-lutely. I have to be honest, man. I'm a bit of a nihilist, so I knew people were generally pretty awful, but being on the internet's really showed me just how terrible people can be. In real life, I would never expect to hear someone say something along the lines of, "I hope you die." You know what I mean? But I can't possibly count how many times I've read such things from people online. Like, it's a bit sick to me. People's absolute disconnect from personal responsibility, when saying things to people online. You can call women bitches, you can call people faggots, and all of this would, you would most likely not even say to their faces. But you feel like it's either not a big deal because it's said over a computer, or you feel like you're simply like protected because you're on the computer. And either way, you're still a dick, man. I just think it makes you a fucking cowardly dick because you'll type some shit to somebody, but you won't say it if they're looking at you in your eyes, man. Outside of that, I haven't quite gotten used to people recognizing me on the street. A few of my friends find it extremely weird to have what they call fans, people who simply want to come up and say what's up, or even take a picture with me. I even had a girlfriend who, once people realized that she was my girlfriend, they started following her on Instagram, liking all of her pictures, leaving comments, which for the record is really fucking weird, man. Don't do that. That's bizarre as shit. You come off as a bit of a creeper. The girl I'm seeing now, on our first date at this coffee shop, there was a guy there with his girlfriend, and I noticed he kept looking back at me, but I didn't really know why because I was quite sure I didn't know him. But eventually he did say something to me about how he watches me on YouTube, and he thanked me for turning him on to some record. I don't remember what it was, but he was a super nice guy, and the situation was cool, but it was a teeny bit awkward because I was on a first date with this chick, right? And you never know how people are going to react to what I do. Like, if I wasn't doing what I do, I don't know how cool I'd be with being with a person who was a part of some like weird online hip-hop show where he yells at people for 20 minutes about random shit, you know, or he sits around for 15 minutes at a time showing off random records to people. It's all weird to people who are outside of this community. So yeah, I'm still getting accustomed to that. But yeah, dude, I don't know that I would really consider myself an internet celebrity. You know, I don't have that many subs. You know, I don't get recognized that often, you know, to really justify the internet celebrity title. Jenna Marbles is an internet celebrity, right? Charlamagne the God is an internet celebrity. Ice JJ Fish, okay, is an internet celebrity. My man Fantano is an internet celebrity, you know? And I'm sure they're thankful for every fan that they get, but they can't take a shit in a bathroom without someone standing by it. You probably didn't even get that reference, but it doesn't even matter. But you get the point. Next question. Williams Dre 910 said, "Hey Myke, I really am a fan of your opinion not only on DHH but just in general. I am asking a favor of following me on here. I actually have a class assignment to gain at least 20 followers on Tumblr, so would you be so kind to help the cause?" Hey man, go follow this guy because this is the most creative lie to get followers I've ever heard, man. Bruh, my mama's dying and the doctor said if I get 500 retweets, he'll do the surgery for free, man. Can you help me out? You're probably roommates with one of those fucking Nigerian dudes who send those ridiculous emails. Hi, you know, my name is Ali Bubu Jirashi, and I know this letter comes to you as a surprise, but I want you to know that this is 100% legit. I have 8,000 pounds worth of blood diamonds that I want to split with you and just you. I must do this urgently because there is a dreadlocked alien that makes strange clicking sounds and hides in trees and can become invisible when it wants to, and he's threatening my village. Why do I want to split them with you? Because I feel like I trust you even though I've never met you. I would like to transfer a total sum of $12 million to your account. All I need you to do is email me at this alternate email address. African chests are the best chests at AOL.com. Thank you and God bless. Man, if you don't get your ass out of here with that bullshit, you and Ali Boo Boo with your damn lies. Nah, for real, man. Go follow this guy on Tumblr, man, just in case he is telling the truth. But fuck Ali Boo Boo, his whole family, all of them as a staff, record label, and a motherfucking crew. Next question. This was sent to me on Twitter. At Pratik Shetty 46 said, hashtag, you got that. Hey Myke C-Town, I have observed we seem to share similar taste in movies, and hence I would love to know your all-time favorites. I watch a lot of movies, man. I watch a lot of indie films. I watch a lot of art films. I watch a lot of horror movies. But because I talk about horror movies and weirdo movies the most, I think people think that I'm only into those kind of movies. So my favorite movie list would probably disappoint you quite a bit. But, you know, fuck it, man. Hey, you asked, and I'm going to give it to you. It's my list. It's my list, bitch. I'm just going to run through a really quick top 10, okay? Number 10 would have to be Transformers. And I'm talking about the animated original Transformers from the 80s, not this shit with Shia LaBeouf and his homies. This has been one of my favorite movies since I was a kid. I don't care if it's juvenile. I've watched it so many times. I've learned every word by heart. I still love this movie. And I'm not afraid to admit, I still cry when Optimus Prime dies. Number 9 is In the Mood for Love. By Kar-wai. This is the movie that made me fall in love with Kar-wai and his amazing method of making like cinematic art. You know, this is a beautiful, poetic masterpiece. Not something I watch every day, but it's absolutely incredible. Gotta have Nightmare on Elm Street. I alternate a lot between this and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. But yeah, after a lot of deliberation, you know, I think I have to switch back to the first one, man. I may change my mind and go back to the third one later, but for now, I think the creepiness and the dark nature of this one just makes it one of the best movies ever. A great beginning to the franchise. You know, even though I still think the third one is kind of where Freddy came into his own as being this sarcastic masochist that made such an amazing villain. But this first one the introduction of Freddy Krueger. It's just dark, creepy, and amazing. Evil Dead 2. I still remember renting this from my local video store when I was like 10 and thinking that it was just incredible. It was scary, it was gory, but it was also funny. Like nothing had been made like it before. If I'm not mistaken, it was kind of the beginning of the whole horror comedy genre. I could be wrong though. You know, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I love this movie. Everything from the weird twist on possessed zombies, the chopping of the hand with the saw, the way it's filmed, it's just great. And Bruce Campbell was such a great anti-hero. Empire Strikes Back. It's easily my favorite of the Star Wars films. The story's great. The way the events played out are really awesome. The fact that it was a movie where for once the good guys just did not win in the end made it such a rad film for me. You know, plus, do you remember as a kid finding out that Vader was Luke's father? Clockwork Orange, my favorite Kubrick film. The whole idea portrayed here of the narcissistic young man and the government's fucked up way of trying to correct his behavior and fit him back into normal society. It's really interesting, especially when compared to how people are treated today. Looking at the Ludovico treatment compared to some of the methods for treatment and even torture that we have today that are used by the U.S. government. It's really, really, really interesting. I read the book as well, and I had the typical nerdy response of the book is better. However, the movie was a damn good adaptation. Dancer in the Dark. Lars von Trier's shining moment, man. Sometimes I crisscross between this and Breaking the Waves as being his best, but since it's got one of the loves of my life, Miss Bjork, in it, I feel like I have to pick this one. Great storytelling, great acting by Bjork and everyone else here. The whole dramatic story mixed in with the weird musical elements, it's just brilliant. Absolutely heartbreaking movie. Aliens. And I mean Aliens as in the second one. Many people choose the original as the best in the franchise, but I say the second one because this is when they actually go to LV-426 and they run into the hive. And there are just so many moments in this movie that are absolutely breathtaking and super well done. Mainly the scene where they're locked in that room and they have that machine and they're reading that there are actual xenomorphs in the room, but they can't see them anywhere. And then they look up at the ceiling and they tip up the ceiling panel and there's just an army of xenomorphs crawling through the ceiling. Absolutely amazing. That scene is incredible. But yeah, that movie's awesome. Blue Velvet. Almost tied with Mulholland Drive as my favorite David Lynch film. But this one edges it out just slightly. This was my introduction to David Lynch and I had no idea what to make of him. But something made me think that he was special. The way he portrayed this whole idea of the facade of the perfect American town on the outside, when on the inside is this seedy, gross, dark, and disturbing underbelly of just what the fuckness, you know? It makes it such an incredible film. And Dennis Hopper, rest in peace, one of the most amazing villains ever. And Wicker Man, probably my favorite movie, man. Like, this has to be one of the most original and unique films ever made. It's labeled a horror movie, but I think it's so much more than that. You know, the way it mixes in elements of horror with twisted psychological thriller, with religion, with bizarre musical is just awesome. Awesome. It's not a stitch of gore. There's no real typical horror elements. It's easily in a class by itself. Christopher Lee, his role as Lord Summerisle was just incredible. Edward Woodward, it was great in this movie. Britt Eklund's sexy ass, she pounding on the door. She's tight. It's just an amazing film that after the ending, you really sit back and say, what the fuck just happened? And you rarely get that genuine feeling with films anymore nowadays. So that's it for this edition of What Do You Want to Know? If you'd like to send me questions, you can submit them through my Tumblr. You can send them through my discussion board on YouTube. You can send them through Twitter by hashtagging WDYWK. And that's it. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. And I will see you guys next time. All right? Peace, bitches.